Welcome to my channel. My name is Katie. So today I wanted to talk about if you've married an immigrant and what some things you need to know are going to be concerning that. So, starting off, and this is going to be right after you get married. Um, So as you can see here, get all identifying documents updated to reflect your new name. So that's going to be driver's license, ID, social security card. I don't know about everywhere else, but in Arkansas, before you can get your name changed on your driver's license, you have to go to the social security office, and they'll actually print you out a form that says, you've got a social security card coming with this last name on it. And that's normally sufficient for them to then issue you a driver's license with the new name on it. Again, that's in Arkansas. Can't really speak for other states. So, car insurance, any bills, lease, home, anything like that. So, you want to just be sure to get all that kind of stuff updated with the new last name. So I'm speaking from like a woman marrying a male immigrant. So obviously, the woman is going to get her last name changed. So, um, in the opposite situation, where an American man is marrying a female immigrant, she would definitely want to go through the same processes of getting her last name updated to reflect her American spouse's last name. So then you want to add your immigrant spouse to any bills that you can. Okay, you can add them as an authorized user, whatever. But it is important that your name and their name show up on this bill together. It can be a furniture note, it can be, you know, anything, anything that you are paying money for, any type of bill. Um, put their name on there. Get a joint bank account. And I know that that is really scary. Me personally, I was always like raised, that you never let a man know how much money you have. And that, you guys need to keep separate bank accounts. And, that's not bad advice. However, when it comes to immigration, it is excellent advice to get an account that has both of your names on it. So you could still have your own personal account, they could still have their own personal account. But what you guys can do is you can just go open up, an account together, completely separate from your own personal accounts, and designate it as a savings account. And, depending on your bank, I'm sure that, just for precautionary reasons, hey, neither one of us can come take money out of this account without the other one's permission, without the other one being present to sign for it, or, basically no money can move out of this account without both of us here and present. So, just, if that's a precautionary step that you want to take. So basically, the more documentation that you guys have with both of your names on it, the better. Because you're basically proving and establishing the marriage, which is very, 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 very important to immigration. So you're going to, UCIS, BIA, OPLA, ICE. There are different names, but it's all one organization. Um, so when I say immigration, it's dealing with all of those different names. But like I said, ultimately, it is just one big organization. Okay, so next thing is you don't want to waste any time getting this I-130 filed. But obviously, before you can actually get it filed, um, doing all these things that I've talked about is something that you want to get done before even going to the next step of filing the I-130, because um, you need to have your name updated to your spouse's name or vice versa, whatever. Okay, so next thing that is really important is you want to have legal representation when it comes to immigration, because immigration is very, very, very complex. And it's just going to make things a lot easier on everybody if you get an attorney. Okay. So the I-130 petition itself, that is basically what the American spouse is filing on behalf of their immigrant spouse. So, um, with the I-130, there's a lot of, benefits that come with it. Once it's approved, you can do an adjustment of status. You can eventually, at some point, become a permanent resident, naturalized, etc. So it's definitely important to get that I-130 done as soon as you possibly can after the marriage. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the topic of the things that you're going to need for this I-130. And it's a lot, honestly. So my suggestion is to get some of these things prepared, get some of these things together prior to even contacting an attorney. That way it'll just help things run a little bit smoother. Like, the attorney, you will already pretty much have, the majority of the information that the attorney is going to need for the petition. And so it'll just make things move a little bit faster, for you and, for the attorney. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right here. And as you can see, I am on uscis.gov. So this is the official government website that you can go to, and it is going to tell you everything that you need to know about the I-130. Even here we have an option to file online. Again, I don't recommend that. Let your attorney do everything. Online filing benefits. We see all this, but let me tell you from experience, when they get the petition, they're going to send you a letter in the mail anyway. And it's going to say, to the American, it's going to say, hey, we received your I-130 petition. Here's a number. Here's our website. Put this number into our website. Of course, you have to create your account, but you're going to put that number, that receipt number, into the website, and then it's going to ask you for, I forget the exact phrase, but it's going to ask you for another number that they put on the letter, and you're going to put that in, and then it is going to give you this screen. So this is actually my I-130 petition for my immigrant spouse. So these are going to be the things that you are going to see on your page. So, case status. Um, right now, mine is being actively reviewed. Processing time is 11 months for mine. I do know that when the pandemic hit, um, they ended up with a lot of stuff backlogged, and some I-130 petitions were taking up to 2 years to get completed. So 11 months is actually good right now. They are in the process of trying to catch up with everything. So then we've got case history, which this is when they received my I-130 petition, and then this is when they actively started reviewing it. This section is going to be documents that were provided. So this is where this is what my attorney gave to them. So you can click on these links and you can actually see the paperwork that was filed by your attorney to them. And then we have this consent to release information, which, you know, that's really nothing that you need to um, deal with. Um, so, anyway, that is what you will see on your end once you receive the letter from USCIS saying that they have received your petition. So, back to what you'll need. Okay, the American spouse. You're going to need evidence that you are a American citizen. So that is, for you, it's really simple. It's your birth certificate, it's your social security card, it is your driver's license. So this right here, this does not apply to the Americans at all. The only part that applies to an American is this first section right here. Okay. So now, evidence of family relationship. So a copy of your marriage certificate, a copy of your child's birth certificate, and honestly, on the Americans part, it is so important that you submit your children's birth certificates, because what that does is it proves that that child is your child. And when it comes to immigration, when you marry an immigrant, it's just kind of automatically like, okay, those are their children. Okay, they don't use the phrase step parent or whatever. Okay, but in order for the children to be a qualifying relative to the immigrant, you have to provide the birth certificate of your American children that establishes that you are their parent. Therefore, that establishes the fact that because you are married to this immigrant, that these children are a part of the family. This is the family, the immigrant contributes to, helps to support, etc. Okay. So it's really important because the court, like, you can say, yeah, that's my kid. The court doesn't care about that. They want evidence, they want proof. Okay. So, evidence of the bona fide marriage. Okay. Now, this is also important. Again, this was something I had already talked about. Showing joint ownership of a property. Okay. So, a lot of people rent. Okay. Maybe you're in the middle of paying off a mortgage. In my particular situation, I took over my mother's trailer note because, my grandma passed away. She moved out to my grandma's house. And so this property has been in our family for a really long, long time. So we didn't want to get rid of it. We wanted to keep it. So the option was, okay, I'll come and take over the trailer payment. So obviously, it's still in my mom and my stepdad's name. But what we did was we had paperwork drawn up for my mom to sign, basically saying that, yes, my daughter and, her husband and my grandchildren, they live at this property. It is in my name. However, once it's paid off, we do have plans of transferring ownership to my daughter and her husband. Okay. Okay. So then we also have the option of a lease showing joint tenancy of a common residence. Okay. So that was also something I talked about, adding that person's name to your rent agreement or your lease agreement because it shows that you guys live together. And this is why you need to get a joint bank account. Okay. Documentation showing that you and your spouse have combined your financial resources. And again, you can still have your own personal account. They can still have their own personal account. Okay. But you guys need to establish an account to together. If you guys have any kids together, you want to make sure that you get their birth certificates together. So affidavits sworn or affirmed by third parties having personal knowledge of bona fides of the marital relationship. Each affidavit must contain the full name and address of the person making the affidavit, date and place of birth of the person making the affidavit, and complete information and details explaining how the person acquired their knowledge of your marriage. So, this is basically going to be your closest friends, your family members, and it doesn't have to be necessarily detailed or 6 pages. Okay, they can write just a small paragraph about how they know you, how they know your spouse, um, why they think the marriage is in good faith. And so the best thing to do for that is have them write it out, email it to you, and send a picture of their ID along with their statement. That way, USCIS knows that this statement is not just something that was typed up, but that it did come from, an actual person. Okay. So, any other relevant documentation to establish there is an ongoing marital union. So, one, I'm not going to say mistake, but one thing that me and my husband did not do, we didn't take pictures when we got married, but, you know, that is kind of a complicated thing because neither one of us are really big on social media or posting stuff. Like we're very private people. We don't really hang out. We don't, like, we go to work and we come home, and that's pretty much the extent of our social interactions. So we don't what actually he doesn't post any pictures at all on his page. He might share something that, pertains to him being a Mason or something like that. But he really doesn't, do that kind of stuff. So I don't really post too much on Facebook. Here and there, might post a picture of my kids, something like that. So that was kind of, something that we should have done. Not necessarily, posted it to social media, but we definitely should have taken pictures. But again, it's just we don't do that. We're not those people that, pull our phones out everywhere we go and take pictures, and we don't do that. So my suggestion is do it. Do it, do it, do it. Okay. So proof of legal name change. So again, this was something that I had already went over that needs to be done as soon as possible after getting married. Okay, 2 passport style photographs. So when I had to do this at first, I was stressed out. I was like, what does that mean? And it's actually very, very simple. You can actually go onto Walmart website and you can take pictures. I think I paid like $13. So you'll take a picture of yourself, and Walmart will actually turn those pictures that you took of yourself into passport photos, and then they'll send it to you in an email, which, is probably what your attorney most likely is going to want. They're gonna want a digital copy of those um, passport photos that you did. And then I don't know about everybody. In my situation, my attorney had the ability to print off the um, passport style photos in their office. So all I had to do was basically just forward the email that I received from Walmart with my finished passport photos, and I just forwarded it to them, and then they went from there. So it was something that literally took like 5 or 10 minutes, and they're really quick about Walmart is about getting. First, you'll get an email with like your initial passport photo, and then they'll have, I guess, a person that just kind of cleans everything up. And they're really quick about getting you your actual finished and approved passport photo. Okay, so if you're filing for an adopted child, this is just going over some of the information that you would need for that. I'm not really going to go into that because I do not have any experience in this particular situation. Um, so the next thing that I want to go over, which is really, really important. So now we have to think about costs and fees. Okay. So attorney rates vary, depending on where you are and maybe how complicated your situation may be, if there's any complications to your situation. So my advice is to shop around. Take advantage of the free consultations that some attorneys offer, to get a quote. Okay. So, now USCIS, and we will go back to their website. So, filing fee. Now, their fee is $535 to submit the I-130 application. Okay. Now, some attorneys include this fee with the services that they are providing. and some of them don't. Um, in my situation, I paid some money, and my assumption was that the money that I paid would include whatever fees came along with, this particular situation, for paperwork needing to be filed or whatever. And, when you pay a certain amount of money and then you get a phone call that's like, hey, we got this document ready, but we need you to pay another $500 before we can get it sent off. And it's like you're kind of placed in a situation where you're like, okay, well, I have to do this for my immigrant spouse, right? Because it's just something you have to do. And so, but then at the same time, you're kind of feeling like, well, what did I just like, what the money I just gave you, like, what was that for? So you definitely, when you're talking to the attorney, you want to ask them, okay, does your fee include the fee of the paperwork that, we are going to be filing? Because you want to know that ahead of time. You don't want surprises. You don't want, to pay somebody, say $3,000-$4,000 or whatever it is, and then get a phone call, oh, we need another 500. This is what USCIS is going to charge. So before we can send this off, we need this $500, right? Okay. So ask. Make sure you ask. Make sure you get a clear understanding of what their fees are going to cover. Is it going to cover your labor or your staff's labor? Is it going to cover all of these documents and the cost of these documents? So, really, really important. All right. So, that is the basics of getting the I-130 together, and kind of all the information that you need to know concerning the I-130, and contacting an attorney and getting that completed and sent off as soon as possible. So, thank you for watching my video, and I hope that my video was helpful to someone, and that you gained a little bit of insight and understanding of, why doing this I-130 is so important. And let me know if you have any questions, or maybe what your experience was. Have you already gone through this? Was it easy? Was it hard? What did you go through during this process? Or if you know somebody, that went through this process, or even if you may have been a person that did a declaration for some people, friends of yours that married an immigrant, and just kind of let me know like what your take on the process was, and how easy or hard it was, and challenges that you faced. So again, thank you for watching, and make sure to leave me a comment about any opinions you have. Keep it respectful, of course. This is just an educational video for anyone that may be going through this situation, so we definitely want to be respectful. But I would love to hear from you guys about your experiences with this. All right. So I'll see you next time on my next video.